Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new episode this week with 15. We're sitting down with KiloHearts and we're going to talk about the HAAS effect. As you guys can see, a little bit of a different recording angle. I rearranged my studio finally, did a little refresh. So let's get to it, guys. I want to just briefly talk about HAAS and what that is. Anyone unfamiliar, you guys can see on the screen when it was kind of discovered back in 49. You really just need to think of it in the simplest manner of it's how we perceive the sound. And when we hear something first, us as a human will grab that first. So when you guys can trigger, say, the left channel quicker than the right channel, that is when you're creating a sample delay or a HAAS effect. It is literally how we as humans perceive the sound and the timing. And that creates a spatial direction, which is a HAAS effect. Very, very simple and very useful in all types of productions. I don't care what genre, guys. This is a tool, a plugin, a theory that you can use all across the board. Let's get to it. So let's use one of my older songs, and this is years back, called Bull, back when I was doing more of the big room sound. We're going to use this on a simple percussion set and just show the plugin. It's very, very simple and straightforward from KiloHearts. I love their set of plugins, and let's just get to it. Okay, so very hard-hitting type song. Did really well for me years ago. Not too much my sound now, but I loved making this record. Okay, let's look down on the drop specifically for this plugin. If I kind of just fast forward over here, if we look at our rides, now rides, percussion sets, snares, claps, a lot of percussion sound in general, I love using the HAAS effect to create width, to create a spatial kind of a trick to your listeners is what it's doing. So let's just open up the plugin and we're just going to use a simple ride here. And we'll go to our KiloHearts suite right over here and simply said HAAS effect. Now this is our plugin, guys. Very straightforward. They let you guys make this up to a 500 scale HD. I really love that. Simple plugin, but has everything you need to create the sample delay or the HAAS effect we're talking about. If you guys want to go to this tab, this is their settings tab where you guys can save, load presets you make, create folders. Very, very simple. You can have that in here. I've never wanted or found a use of saving presets specifically for this plugin because it's delay and select the channel. It's very, very simple. I don't really care about presets. So they do have that if you need that. I usually have that closed. Our bypass button up here as usual in Logic. And you guys can see with their plugins as you scan over stuff, which is very useful. It does kind of tell you what's going on down here, which is, there's not many parameters on this, but for someone first getting into their plugins, it's very, very simple. Okay, let's see what the plugin can do. As I said, you just select whether you want the left channel to come in late or you want the right one. It's just vice versa. You just select one. So let's say I want the left channel and add delay to that. It's going to change our perception of the sound. It's going to change the spatial direction of how you're first hearing it versus hearing it later. So it's kind of cool. Think about how you can use this on backing vocals, creating width of claps, maybe harmony tracks, right? There's so many things you guys can do with this simple plugin. Okay, let's hear it with just the left channel. And we're going to do pretty high milliseconds. Let's bring it up so it's pretty drastic. See how there's literally, let's just loop this. And you'll hear it when I bypass it, of course, but pay attention to almost how this pushes mono when I bypass it versus that HAAS effect when it's on. That's a night and day difference. And this is just on rides, guys. If we went over to, for example, let's turn the solo off. Let's go forward on the record here. Let me look at this clap here. That clap's pretty center. And I do have a lot more percussion stuff going on in this record, but let's just say we put this on this clap. Let's see what we can get. Now, be careful, guys. You got to recognize that obviously the higher I'm going in this milliseconds, it's going to shift the timing that it is in the actual record itself. So as we're sitting right now with it on solo, that's all fine and dandy, but make sure you're not pushing it so far off timing with this HAAS that it's now going to be out of place in the record. So I will check that as I'm messing with it in reference to the rest of the track. That's incredible. I mean, that clap, I love making wider claps, wider snares. And keep in mind mentally, guys, correlation. Are you pushing them so far out stereo width that this is going to translate in mono? I keep that in mind when I'm messing with HAAS effects, because the more you're pushing one channel from the next, it could push it out of correlation, which means it won't translate in a bunch of different playback environments. So keep that in mind. You know, really go slow and steady with how much delay you're adding and how much HAAS you're creating, because you want every single sound to kind of translate. Yeah, so the rest of using this, guys, is quite frankly experimenting with what sound you're putting it through. Like I said, vocals. A lot of backing vocals I like using this on to create some width and get that kind of delayed HAAS going. And it sits and meshes really, really well with a lead vocal. So it's quite incredible what you can do with such a small plugin. The biggest thing is what this does in theory to sounds. The HAAS effect in general is quite something powerful that I'll use in almost every record I can. Think of it as sample delay too, guys. If you have a plugin called sample delay, like I have here in Logic, very, very similar type thing where I'm setting the left at a different amount from the right. Exactly same thing. You can do milliseconds, samples, etc. Ideally, that's the same thing as a HAAS effect. So if you have that in your DAW, use it. But that is it. Quick and simple today for today's plugin sessions. The HAAS plugin from KiloHearts. It's in their suite. Go check it out on their website. I guarantee you guys will love using this. I'll catch you guys next week. Take care.